What's good? Hope y'all doing well. Staying blessed, prayed up. I'm get a little bit more late. So lately I've been reading an acting book actually. Oh man, what's the name of the book? It's by Larry Moss, I believe is his name. He was an acting coach for a lot of big time actors. One of them being Leonardo DiCaprio. Um, it's like it's a book on acting and the craft of acting, and I've been reading up on it. Do I want to be an actor? I want to read a book? Maybe. I mean, sometimes I just read stuff to read. Anyways, but what I thought it was interesting, at least in the opening chapters, he's talking about. Well, the first chapter he's talking about how to read the script, how to read the script, and how important it is for an actor to understand the given circumstances of whatever play or script that the writer has given the actor. And it's up to the actor to take these given circumstances and bring it to life and interpret it. But the given circumstances are solid. Like you cannot change that. And it's also interesting. Also, there's a part where he says like, for you to truly understand a character, it's not about what the character says, but it's the behavior of the character. To really understand what he calls the super objective of the character. The super objective being the main driving purpose of that character in that film, in that story. He describes as the super objective as being the spine, and then objectives being the ribs of the spine. So in each scene, act, that character has an objective that all leads to the super objective. And it's also talking about how there's obviously there's going to be obstacles placed in front of that character to get to his objective and ultimately to his super objective. And that's what ultimately makes a drama is having these obstacles in front of this character's objective. What does this got to do with anything? You're not an actor? Well, in a weird way. Well, it's not going to be weird. I'm not going to call it weird. So in the book of Hebrews, chapter 12, verse 2, we see that Jesus is described as the author and finisher of our faith. So I guess, I don't know, I'm thinking of our lives. So if our lives are written by the author, who is Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, right? I feel like there's already a lot packed in that verse that, first and foremost, faith, fe in Spanish, we see it described in the scriptures that we walk by faith, not by sight. And it is impossible to please God without faith, as it says in the book of Hebrews. That your whole walk with God is on your faith. And we see when Jesus is doing miracles, like, it shall be done according to your faith. Don't be afraid, believe. If you have faith the size of a grain of mustard seed, you can move mountains. So, when it comes to these invisible things, the invisible God, for Jesus Christ is the image of the invisible God. Faith, it's a big thing as a Christian, as a follower of God, a follower of Jesus. And with that faith, we see Jesus he's writing a story with our lives. He's the writer. He's the one that's writing these super objectives and these objectives in these given seasons. And there's going to be obstacles placed in front of us, these trials and tribulations. And also, what does the Lord say? You shall know them by their fruits. Not by what they say, but based on that person's character, that person's behavior, that person's actions, is how you can tell what are the person's desires, what is that person's motive, what is that person's objective. So if you want to think of Jesus as being this the overarching screenwriter of whatever play, and that play being our lives, and we're characters in this story that Jesus is writing out for us, I thought it was interesting, at least to think of it in that way. Because in a sense, that really is what's going on. Jesus is the screenwriter, the director, the producer of our faith. And of course, it's scary, just like taking that leap of faith into Jesus and letting him write your life for you. It's gonna be a scary thing for a lot of people. Because first and foremost, you want to make sure that this is the right thing to do. Is Jesus trustworthy enough for my life to be in complete control? For him to write my life story, do I trust him enough for that? Like, these are real questions that people might have. There's also a part in the Gospels where I think Jesus, I believe it's a parable where he talks about like a person that's trying to build something, build a house, but doesn't have enough bricks to finish the house. And like people are gonna make fun of you because like, yo, look at this dude, he tried to build a house, but he didn't even have enough bricks to build that house. And basically Jesus is saying, like, make sure you got enough to finish. Make sure you got enough to finish. And I always thought of that as like, do I got enough like zeal? Do I got enough like fire for God to finish this faith thing, to finish this walk with God on this earth? Do I got enough? Do I got enough power to just keep following God and like repenting and staying away from sin and living righteous and just living perfect and just keep following God? I mean, he's saying like to finish the race. This race that we call faith, this that we call life. See, when before Paul got his head chopped off, he's writing in his last letters to Timothy, like, I have finished the race. I have finished the good fight. He made it. He made it to the end. But what I'm going to say is that you cannot finish this play, this screenplay, this film, which is your life. You can't finish that house you're trying to build just off of your own strength, just off of your own mind, just off of your own ability, because you will not be able to do it. Paul did not finish his ministry and all the miracles and all the evangelizing that he did throughout the Roman Empire just off of his strength. I know that Jesus is saying that it's going to be off of his strength, off of the Holy Spirit's strength, off of the Father's strength. So you're placing that faith in something you can't see. God is going to give you the strength to finish. And you have to have faith that God will give you that strength in the end. You have to have faith that God can do it. For with man, this is possible. With God, with man, this is impossible. But with God, it is possible. Luke 1:37, for with God, nothing shall be impossible. Lean on him. So when you have moments you feel like, I'm not going to lie, I don't think I'm going to make it. But God, I trust you. You're going to make it. If that's hard for you to understand, it's because it's hard to understand the way God works. But if you truly trust him, easier said than done, but if you truly trust him, he's going to get you there to the finish line. To whatever super objective you got. Whatever objective You got to get to him. Whatever obstacles in front of you, whatever Goliath is in front of you, you will be a David and you will slay down the giant. David slew the giant not because of his strength, not because of his size, and not because of his abilities, but because of his faith in God. He said, today you guys will know that there is a living God in Israel. And slung that mother flipping rock to the dome of the giant, and that giant went down. He cut the giant's head off. Take that how you want to take it.